What up, everybody? Now let me get the business portion of this video out of the way. See, this Saturday, March 30th, 2013, Texas All-Star Wrestling proudly brings to you at Coach's Sports Bar the 20th annual Humble Rumble. Now, just a year ago, March 31st, 2012, yours truly achieved a lifelong goal by becoming the Texas All-Star Wrestling Heavyweight Champion when I defeated Mysterious Q for this title. A lot's happened in the past year. I've beaten Ruthless Ryan Davidson. I've beaten the 19th annual Humble Rumble winner, Nico, otherwise known as Abel Andrew Jackson. I defeated Jay Sin Sullivan. I also cross-promoted. I put this belt on the line at such places as IWE. I returned to my home, in a way. Well, at least I'm the father of that company, and I faced their champion, Mr. B, and almost came out victorious. I would have, but I still retained. Still got a victory on IWE ground. I went to CWF, and on January 26th of this year, I defeated Lance Beretta for the Coastal Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Title, making me a champion wait, hold on, I'm sorry, because while I was doing all of that, I also was defending this, the Gulf Coast Power Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. So I'm in essence the GCPPW, CWF, TASW Heavyweight Champion. And I plan on defending all three this Saturday, March 30th. I'm going to make history once again, as only I do. I'm going to prove that I'm the guy who puts the pro in professional wrestling, your reason to demark out. And this Saturday at Coach's Sports Bar, I will once again hold this title up high as your champion. So, yeah, this Saturday. If you're in the Humble area, man, come check it out. Coach's Sports Bar, plenty of drink specials. You know what? It's going to be a merry time, especially for me, Steve DeMarco. But that is not, so we're out of the business portion. Well, one other bit of business. I will, at that show, be debuting a new t-shirt. Oh yes, a new t-shirt. It will not be a DeMark Out t-shirt, a new version. It is a completely new logo and everything else. Will be available then. And then I'll probably start selling shirts online, and I will post on my Facebook. You'll get all that information. So if you wanted to get a shirt, either a DeMark Out shirt or the new shirt, or maybe another shirt. Who knows? Who knows? But this Saturday, March 30th, be on the lookout for a new t-shirt. New and improved! But that's not... No, we're not going to talk about April 6th. I'm not even thinking about that. My mind solely focused on the 20th annual Humble Rumble. Then I'll worry about the other shows that I'll possibly attend. But for now, let's talk about, let's take you back. Last video in the Chronicles, I discussed turning on Psycho Simpson at TASW, my TASW debut. And I'll probably talk about TASW later down the road, but it just so happened that a week later, he would be one of two opponents I would have for the night. Now, NWA Southwest was my introduction, if you will, to televised wrestling, televised tapings, and stuff that was going to air, at least locally in the Metroplex area. So it was new to me. It was new. I really wasn't concerned about storylines. I wasn't in that mindset. Didn't want to know what was going on. I just went out there and performed whatever they told me to do. I was just happy to be there. So, on this night in particular, June 21st, 2002, a night that would shape my wrestling career even further, and at the same time, like, kind of catapult me into the national headlines, so to speak. So, but it didn't begin with there. I had been with NWA Southwest for 3 months at this point. And really pretty much achieved certain goals. I'd beaten Hot Stuff Hernandez, had gone toe-to-toe with JP Black. I kind of put my name out there. And because of that, and because of certain guys on the roster really kind of pushing for this, I was able to get mic time, which was new for me, so to speak. Getting the opportunity to talk on camera, getting the opportunity to cut promos. I mean, I had done it at other shows, but this was the first time to do it on television. I was lucky in a sense that I had a guy like Rob Moore kind of guiding me as far as interviewing me.
Fans, this gentleman to my right has certainly been climbing way up the ladder in NWA Southwest Wrestling. He is Steve DeMarco. He's had some outstanding matches. He's beaten Hot Stuff Hernandez in one match, and he's got an interesting couple of weeks ahead of him. And Steve, before we talk about next week's match, first let's talk about tonight's match. You're going one-on-one tonight with the NWA Southwest Television Champion, Psycho Simpson, and it's not going to be a title match.
You know, I don't understand why I come to NWA and have to go against someone in a non-title match. I mean, I deserve a title, especially the TV title. Not some retarded guy from Austin State Hospital. I'll give him credit. He is the champ. He beat Brett Bones. Bottom line, fine. I respect him as a competitor, but he's not in my league. He's not me. All he is going to be an example that I set, that I send to JP Black, because in 1 week, I have to go against JP Black for the belt that I deserve. The best in Texas, you're looking at him. I'm going to have the belt to prove it come next week.
I believe for 2 weeks it was the Steve DeMarco show. I got a lot of mic time. Rob Moore interviewed me prior to my match with Psycho Simpson. Now, Psycho Simpson at the time was the television champion. And I guess the storyline for me, at least for the Steve DeMarco end, was that I was going to face all these champions in non-title matches, kind of to earn my way, to climb the ladder. So, you know, Rob, I was climbing the ladder. I had been impressive against guys. I had beaten probably in essence their top guy in Hernandez. And I was given another opportunity to face another champion in a non-title match. And I knew that I needed to kind of step up my game and show them that this wasn't going to be a one-hit wonder. I was going to go on and do some things. And I wanted people to know. And every time I got on the microphone that night, I wanted them to know that you were looking at the best in Texas.
You know, JP Black might have a belt. That doesn't make him a champion. He don't look like a champion. He don't talk like a champion. He don't act like a champion. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm the very best in Texas. I deserve the damn belt.
I believed it to a degree. I mean, I want my ego. I mean, part of promos is giving some truth. You've got to believe in what you're saying, and I believed it. I believed that I was a guy that was destined to be something great. Now, my first opponent of the night was Psycho Simpson, television champion.
And his opponent from the Austin State Hospital, weighing in at 225 pounds, he is the NWA Southwest Texas television champion, Psycho Simpson.
Got immense respect for this guy. He's a bit of a character. Comes out with a doll. Really, it's funny about this guy. A thing that never, I don't have footage of this. If someone does, please put it out there. But the build-up for the 54th annual NWA anniversary show was AJ Styles versus Ken Shamrock for the NWA World Heavyweight Title. Pretty big deal. That was going to be the focus of the show, the main event of the show. And I'll get into that in a second. We all had to cut promos about who we thought was going to win. And Psycho cuts this promo. Oh, man, it was just genius. We were at the Texas Motor Speedway at the time, which I'll get into in a second, but Rob Moore's asking him a question. He's just full on. He's got this picture of race cars just going racing, and he's kind of picked it up, and he's got this, in essence, like plate, and he's treating it like a steering wheel, and he's just in full on, like he's racing with the cars. It's just a thing of beauty. I think actually in the footage, as soon as he ends his stuff, everyone can't stop laughing, but. Don't let all of that theatrics and the dramatics fool you in that that he was from the Austin Mental Hospital. I mean, this guy could go. And he always helped me raise my game. He was, you know, in a lot of ways my equal, in a lot of ways my superior. I mean, the guy just was flawless in the ring.
Yeah, but if there's one way to get to Psycho Simpson, you start messing with that little dog, he'll forget about everything else that's going on.
And that doll is certainly a redhead, I can say that much. Twisting wrist lock by Steve DeMarco on Psycho Simpson.
I don't know what's worse, Rob Moore, your fixation with instant heat or your fixation with dolls.
I don't have a fixation with either. Thank you very much. Psycho Simpson with an armbar on Steve DeMarco. DeMarco with an arm drag, but look at this. Psycho holds on. Still maintaining that armbar on the left arm of Steve DeMarco.
Well, maybe referee Phil Brown might want to get in there, because obviously I can see from my vantage point right here, he's got a handful of Steve DeMarco's hair right there.
Reversal into a hammerlock by DeMarco. And Psycho throwing an elbow, and he reverses it. Look at this, showing us some nice wrestling moves there.
Like I said, I don't think he's as crazy as he's letting on.
Well, I don't know how much mat time they let him get at the Austin State Hospital.
Well, obviously he's not actually a resident there still. They wouldn't let this guy out. There's nobody standing here ringside to protect these fans from this idiot.
Nice leapfrog by Simpson, and look at this, deep arm drag takedown by Psycho. And an arm drag takedown by DeMarco, and look at this, couple of hip toss reversals. And Simpson, look at this, showing some great agility. Japanese arm drag by Steve DeMarco.
And what about the agility of Steve DeMarco? He's standing here going hold for hold, move for move with this idiot.
Steve DeMarco going back and forth, as you said, hold for hold with a raving lunatic. This lunatic, I think you're right, Cactus Jack, I think he knows a lot more than he lets on.
That's right, and obviously, look at him, you know.
Going up with a monkey flip on DeMarco, and DeMarco rolls to the floor.
But the Psycho gimmick's so awesome. So awesome. And an amazing time to get to wrestle with him. And at the same time, really get to work and really solidify myself as a heel. He was kind of the perfect, he was the perfect guy to get me over as that. Because there were so many things I could do. I could cheat, I did everything I possibly could. I destroyed his doll, which was a big no-no.
Simpson's weak point. This little dolly.
He's got the doll again, and look at this! That doll just exploded all over Psycho Simpson.
And he just went ahead and took the arms off just for a good minute and throws it down.
Tore it limb from limb, and he's stomping on the doll.
As I said, there's one way to get to Psycho Simpson, and that's the way to get to it.
You know, and he made me pay for it. And again, the guy was my equal in a lot of ways. I mean, we were matched really well against each other. And
Psycho's got him hooked for a, well, looked like he was going for a suplex, but he drapes DeMarco over that top rope instead. Bit of a knee lift. And now Psycho is going outside the corner. He's going to climb the ropes. Psycho, what is he going to... Oh, he went for the leg drop, but DeMarco got out of the way. That may be the break that Steve DeMarco needed to turn the tide in this match. He's up on the top rope himself. Flying cross body block on Simpson, and look out, Simpson is on top. He turns it over. Only a 2 count, though. He had the leg hooked, but DeMarco kicked out.
Well, obviously, Phil Brown's not paying too much attention, because also during that cover, Psycho Simpson was hanging halfway out the ring, and now, here we go. Steve DeMarco is going to finish him off.
DeMarco's got Simpson in the air, and look at that double underhook pile driver, and that's got to be it for Psycho Simpson. DeMarco on top, lackadaisical cover, but he gets it.
To get the victory over him, man, it was something. But it was a non-title match, so And I still had something left at the end of the night, and that was JP Black. Now I can say whatever I want in a promo about JP Black.
It's about time I got a title shot for something. Now everyone saw what I did to Psycho Simpson last week. Everyone saw me put him on the mat, 1, 2, 3, knock him out. Tonight will be no different. JP Black, you think you're a champion? You don't have what I've got. You don't have the looks, you don't have the skill, and you damn sure don't deserve to wear that belt. If anyone's going to be champion of Texas at NWA Southwest, you're looking at him, Steve DeMarco, the best damn thing, period.
Right. But the reality of it is that I had immense respect for this guy.
Well, this man to my right has faced an awful lot of challenges during his time as NWA Texas Heavyweight Champion. And coming up tonight, JP Black, you've got another one of those great challenges, a man by the name of Steve DeMarco. Now, he's a man who's been making a name for himself in the NWA, and his recent victory over Hot Stuff Hernandez has certainly catapulted him near the top of the rankings. And tonight, he's going after that belt you wear over your shoulder right there.
Let it never be said that I turned my back on the challenge. He did defeat Hot Stuff. Granted, that makes him an equal challenge for me, so I accept his challenge for my belt. But I want him to understand one thing. We've danced before, and this dance will be no different. You in the losing column, me in the win column. Because understand, there's nothing more important to me in this world than this belt. And like I said before, I'd rather die than lose this championship. So I hope you're ready. I hope you stretched all your body parts. Hope you got your blood warm, because it's going to be a long night for you, my friend.
He had the goods. He was a guy that really taught me a lot just by being in the ring with me. Like, showed me pacing, and really there was a chemistry there. And he was really the first guy that I feuded with on a televised product. I mean, we carried a feud from probably from March of that year till May. He was my NWA Southwest feud. And he's a guy that helped really make me. And another guy who could, physically, he could manhandle me in a way, and he was, you know, had fast hands, and he really put him to work.
Has defeated some major names in the pro wrestling world.
And look at this. Who cares about that? This guy's cheating already. He is scared of Steve DeMarco, as I've always called JP Black. He's the cheating champion. All that he comes out here and does is throw punches, pulls tights.
Well, the crowd was behind him. He was a fighting champion, regardless of what I would say about him. But again, I had to get it over that, buddy, you're not in my league. You're not. You're a lot of things, but you're not Steve DeMarco. That was my point of that whole thing. But he really had me. He had me at one point.
It up, throws the kick. JP gets out of the way. JP with a boot to the midsection, and he's going for the fisherman suplex, and he nails it. JP nails the suplex on Steve DeMarco.
Now JP, I don't think he has it.
I thought I had beat him early, and I let my ego get in the way.
But he's also probably scouted. Oh, there's that super kick.
Big super kick by Steve DeMarco.
And it did take, you know, I got to thank Steve Moody and Razor Fix for giving me the assist.
Between them.
No. We saw JP Black run in and pull.
JP Black, and Steve Moody is coming in.
Bill Brown is out.
Steve Moody stomping on JP Black. What is he doing that for? Steve Moody must weigh $150, and JP Black is beating him up. Bill Brown is out on the floor. Wait a minute, here comes the problem solver, Razor Fix. He's got him up and down with a choke slam. Razor Fix choke slamming JP Black. Now he's dragging DeMarco over and putting him on top.
Help him up, Steve. Get him in there.
Fix and Moody leaving the ring, but Moody first.
No, they got to help the rev up. Get him in there.
Pushing Bill Brown back into the ring. Wait a minute. No.
Yeah. Hey. Allow me, Rob Moore. Allow me. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner and new Texas Heavyweight Champion, Sexy Steve DeMarco.
He had help from Steve Moody and from Razor Fix, but the end result is Sexy Steve DeMarco is the new NWA Texas Heavyweight Champion.
But really, who came out on top? Me. But, and that catapulted me. Again, we feuded. We got to faced one another at Texas Motor Speedway. Again, that show that was built up for the 54th annual NWA show. And that was going to take place in Corpus. So, you know, I got to fight this guy in my hometown at Memorial Coliseum, a place where I graduated high school. My graduation took place there. I got to see Clash of Champions 10 there. I've talked about this. My folks were there. My grandmother was there. My dad was there, and he rarely got to see me wrestle. My mom was there, and she actually, you know, and on top of it, I'm a bad guy in the story. And I did bad guy things in that match, but because it was my hometown, they were going to cheer me anyway. Yeah, I mean, the Texas Motor Speedway show was one thing, but this was added because I was coming in as the challenger. I debuted new wrestling gear for that. There was build-up for that show in the paper. I mean, I'm in the paper. This is the front page of the Corpus Christi Call-a-Time. There I am next to this Vatican rejects policy. But that's me on the front in the glow, the aura. It's like Jesus was watching over me as I'm hurting this person who was Papa Don, Ray Campos, right there. And I'm making him scream in pain. Anyway, but I got, I mean, a front page a week before the show. We're at the Memorial Coliseum. I mean, we're expecting a good crowd. This show had, man, who did it? It had America's Most Wanted, it kind of in their infancy. It had R-Truth. It had Hernandez. They were battling one another like a belt versus belt situation. AJ Styles was there. However, Ken Shamrock wasn't. So I think AJ Styles and he teamed up with someone. And they took on America's Most Wanted. I got to meet those guys, got to hang out with, pretty much, you know, Conan was there, and Jeff Jarrett was there. Got to talk to him for a little bit. This guy, there were just a bunch of people, Johnny Moss and a few others. The good thing was getting to hang out with those guys, you know, before and after the show, and kind of the days leading up to it. I mean, it was really just a phenomenal time. And I got to win. I got to get on a microphone and thank the fans and like kind of baby-faced it for a little bit. It was a definite highlight of my career. I'm not going to even deny it. But I mean, all of that started with my debut in March and then this one night in June where I got to beat two champions more or less clean. And, yeah, get myself in the history books. And a lot came out of that. A lot of things came out of that. I mean, I got to be in this WrestleMania build-up with Angle and Lesnar. I mean, on the cover, and I'm in it. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, to be in the rankings, I mean, I'm number 10. But to be in the rankings for the NWA World Title was a big deal for me. Was huge. Huge to be in this magazine. I mean, guys can say what they want about the mag, but to be in PWI was awesome. It was literally awesome to be put in the same. I mean, this was May 2003. This was towards the end of my reign at NWA, but to be in the rankings. I mean, there were other guys like AJ Styles and Ron the Truth Killings and Jorge Estrada. Jeff Jarrett was the world champion at that point. Hot Stuff Hernandez. JC North, Spider, who I saw get flattened by Hot Stuff Hernandez at the North Richland Hills thing in a cage match. I think Hernandez did this big dive. And Spider in the back said, man, I've never been hit so hard. The guy was literally beaten up. Steve Carino's in this. I'm on a list with those guys. So, I mean, honestly, a big, big deal for me. Now, my reign with them would end in May, but really my time with them as a regular competitor ended in November. I think after that anniversary show in October, that's when it ended. They lost the North Richland Hills spot, and we soon wouldn't be doing shows anymore. So I had a choice to make. What I was going to do, you know, what was going to be the plan. I mean, here I was, a champion of a place that wasn't running, but I'm still the champ. I had the hardware, at least in title I did. But I was really starting to look, okay, well, where else can I go? Because the NWA could only take me so far. Ken was only doing so much at that time. It really wasn't like you were getting bookings, because I got a couple of bookings, but they were really, like, I was never, even though I was a champ or in the running or one of the top guys, I mean, on this top 10, I still, the NWA as a whole was in disarray, so it really wasn't like guys were helping each other. You know, just really, and NWA Southwest was specific to one building, and once they lost that building, then it was, well, now we've got to cross-promote with other companies, and they just really weren't doing a whole lot of that. I mean, I wrestled a couple of times for them after that anniversary show. But one show I got to wrestle in, and I'm only going to bring it up as kind of, to kind of end this. I mean, it was a one-shot show, but it was Legacy Wrestling Entertainment, which took place on December 5th, 2002. Now I'm going to read off, I mean, it's in the same magazine, so you can't really see it. Well, I'm trying. But I'll just tell you, okay, so this took place December 5th, 2002. Here are the results. It took place at the Cowtown Coliseum in Fort Worth. Gabe Roach, Jared Steele, Eddie Atlas defeated Zane Morris, Largus Black, and Steve DeMarco. We were like the opening match, 6-man. Hot Stuff Hernandez defeated Action Jackson and C. Diddy in a 3-way elimination match. AJ Styles and Paul London defeated the B-Boys, and I think these were actually the Overboys, which was Joey Corman and Samir. I believe, I could be wrong, but Hacksaw Jim Duggan defeated Crusher Kong. Mike Fox pinned Michael Shane to become the Southern States Heritage Champion, and Chris Candido pinned the Sandman to become the heavyweight champion, but was stripped the next morning due to his unprofessional acts at the show. This show, this Legacy Wrestling Entertainment show, would go down in infamy. I have a VHS copy of it, but I didn't even want to convert it. Not because my match was, I mean, my match was what it was, and maybe one day I'll put it in VCR and I'll watch it and convert the whole show, because it is a kind of historic. Historic in the fact that, I mean, you had, think of the names that were on the show at that time, 2002. It was kind of a variable who's who. It was cross-promotion because NWA Southwest didn't work with PCW, but yet they all came together for this show. You had like AJ Styles and Paul London. Paul London coming back to Texas. I think, you know, he was in his ROH run at that time. Good friend. AJ Styles, guy I'd seen, you know, less than a month, you know, a little over a month prior at the anniversary show. Really good to see him. I mean, you had the Overboys. You had Chris Candido, the Sandman, and Tammy Sitch. Sonny from WWE. The same Sonny who passed out like 3 or 4 times in that show. Passed out. I mean, they came bombed out of their mind. Out of their mind, and they're in the main event. Like, I think at one point they were trying not to have them wrestle, but they paid them so much. Like, this was a grand opening, grand closing show, so, I mean, I'm not burning any bridges, and, you know, rest in peace, Chris Candido. And Sandman was a guy that I really liked at ECW. So, I mean, I'm watching this, but again, Sonny's passed out at some point. It gets so bad that I think Chris Candido throws a beer can. I mean, this is at post-match. I don't even recall what happens in the match outside of Sonny passing out. And those two kind of, I don't know what kind of match they were trying to have. But anyway, I think Candido chunks a can at Sandman. Sandman gets mad, chunks a can at the crowd, and he almost hits a baby in a stroller. Like in the far end of the floor seats at the far end, like almost hits it. Hits the back wall that basically leads to the risers. Yeah. Man. So, but again, you know, going to that show, even though I was the NWA champ, we didn't even talk about me being the NWA champ. Like, I think that would have been a cool thing, is more companies like allowing, if you're a champ somewhere, to be recognized elsewhere. It just helps both companies in some respect. But it was time. I think after, once I found out the building wasn't going to be around, they were going to do weekly shows, it was time to move on. Or at least move on to something else while I waited to see what they were doing. And then I made the decision to go to PCW, which will be the subject of my next video, which I'm hoping will be out pretty soon. But again, I appreciate all of y'all. Like I said, March 30th, I defend this. I'll have this. The CWF title's getting shined. I'm sure it'll be there. But this guy, this belt, gonna defend it. Historic event. Congratulations to Bob Murphy for his induction into the IHWE Hall of Fame class of 2013. And also, speaking of Hall of Famers, I gotta give a big shout out. Huge shout out. I mean, some call him the five-time WCW champion, or a 6-time world champion. Some might call him GI Bros. Some might call him one half of the greatest tag teams, one of the greatest tag teams in wrestling history. I still consider him wrestling royalty, but he is now a Hall of Famer. Talking about Booker T. Congratulations to that man. Utmost respect for him. Looking forward to being at the next Reality Wrestling show. Yes, I am slated to be there, but hey, I got time to talk about that. I'm sure I'll talk about that before the next one. Hopefully all of you enjoy your holidays. If you're in the Humble or Houston area, come check me out. New shirts. And without further ado, fans, friends, family, all of you watching, all of you that can hear the sound of my voice, stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy, but come on back, people. And you definitely will be. Until the next time, later.